If you smell what The Rock is cooking. The Rock says, The Rock says. The Rock says, The Rock.
I hear voices in my head, they counsel me, they understand, they talk to me. You got your rules and your religion, all designed to keep you safe. But when rules start getting broken, you start questioning your faith. I have a voice that is my savior, hates to love and loves to hate. I have a voice that has the knowledge and the power to your fate.
War games! War games! War games!
Hello and welcome to the NXT Wrestling Talk Show with Lisa Rock Jones and
John Randy Steph to bring you our pre-show to NXT Wargames.
yes, and you will notice a lack of phrase in with this, as this will be the first NXT pay-per-view to not come under the label of TakeOver.
Yes, because obviously since the rebrand, they dropped it.
You mean Vince has dropped it?
Yes, right.
Like he's dropped everyone else this year, almost.
About 80 superstars, that's the conversation for another time.
So we have 5 matches to go through. The first of which will be, as William Regal so delightfully puts it,
Yes.
the Women's Wargames match.
Again, the two women's teams are one team captained by Raquel Gonzalez, is Raquel Gonzalez herself, Io Shirai, Cora Jade, and Katie Ray, taking on the team of Team Dakota Kai with Dakota Kai as captain and Toxic Attraction of Mandy Rose, the NXT Women's Champion, and the NXT Women's Tag Team Champions, Gigi Dolan and Josie Jane.
Yes, this whole thing has been building pretty much since Mandy Rose came back to NXT and formed a group known as Toxic Attraction. You could clearly tell that they were going to be involved in a War Games match. Then we had Miguel Gonzalez and Dakota Kai, with Kai turning on Gonzalez, then costing her the NXT Women's Championship at Halloween Havoc with the rest of Toxic Attraction defeating Io Shirai and Zoe Stark to become Women's Tag Team Champions. Now, originally I think the plan was to have Zoe Stark in this match.
But because of Zoe Stark sustaining a ACL injury, that idea was put on the shelf.
And they have the Scottish UK influence of Kaylee Ray,
Recently called up from NXT UK.
and former NXT UK Women's Champion, probably going to be NXT Women's Champion following her footprint of Rhea Ripley.
Hopefully it'll be
Now, this is a difficult one, I would say. I would probably give this, unfortunately, to Dakota Kai and Toxic Attraction.
Why's that?
Probably because when you look at the rest of them, I would say Raquel Gonzalez is probably on her way to the main roster relatively soon.
Yes, I agree with that.
After, maybe after this, but maybe she has a rematch with Mandy Rose first. And but one thing we should point out, as a result of defeating Dakota Kai in the ladder match on NXT, Team Gonzalez will have the advantage in this War Games match.
Yes, they will.
Now, what do you get when you get two wrestlers who have decided to put the hair on the line in a match? Oh, a hair versus hair match.
Which we haven't had since 2010.
Yes, when Rey Mysterio so gracefully saved the head of CM Punk.
A company we should not be mentioned. As Cameron Grimes takes on Duke Hudson.
This is a bit of a weird one. I mean, Grimes has been built relatively,
Like $1 million man sort of.
relatively okay since being given a $1 million man kind of gimmick with investment into GameStop, and then the feud with LA Knight over the $1 million championship.
Yes.
So this one, I'm not 100% sure which way it could go. Personally, I would say Grimes, but we all know what Vinnie Mac is like.
Yeah.
So next, Imperium.
And the NXT Tag Team Championships against the team of Kyle O'Reilly and Von Wagner.
AKA Undisputed Era 3.0?
Something like that.
Yes, with Adam Cole gone,
Yes.
Bobby Fish gone, Roderick Strong doing something else,
For new faction, Vigorous, and we'll mention him later.
Kyle O'Reilly has now found himself a new tag team partner.
Yes, in Von Wagner.
Now, the fact that Imperium have only been tag team champions since Halloween Havoc makes me think that the titles will likely stay with them here, unless they were simply being used as transitional champions to pass the titles from MSK to another face team.
Yeah. So, next match, it will be for the Cruiserweight Championship of NXT. NXT Cruiserweight Championship. Roderick Strong will defend his NXT Cruiserweight Championship against Joe Casey, but Joe Casey weighs over the 205-pound limit, because Joe Casey is 245 pounds. But let us remind you of a little history lesson, because this is not the first time something like this has happened.
Yes, back in 2003, Matt Hardy was once defeated Rey Mysterio for the Cruiserweight Championship. That was, at the time, representing the Cruiserweight division. Now,
So,
technically, there was a storyline there that Matt Hardy managed to get himself barely in the weight limit. But Joe Gracie is, 40 pounds over?
yes, something like that.
And the way that Diamond Mine and Roderick Strong have been going, I don't really see the championship changing hands.
No, neither do I. Finally, what we will expect is what we will expect. The main event of War Games
Well,
is the men's War Games match.
the main event of 4 games. What we would expect them to do, which is have start with a War Games match and end with a War Games match.
And Team Black and Gold, comprised of DIY, Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano, the Bruiserweight Pete Dunne and LA Knight, take on Team 2.0 of Von Breakker, NXT North American Champion Carmelo Hayes, Grayson Weller, and Tony D'Angelo.
Now, you may be wondering why the Tommaso Ciampa team is Team Gold and Black, or Black and Gold. That's because of these people representing the original NXT and the original NXT colours being black and gold. Whilst Team 2.0 are basically all the people who have come into NXT since the rebranding.
So, who do we see this match going to? From which team?
Well, for the simple fact that it makes more sense to build the new guys, I think this goes to Team 2.0.
And also, there's rumours going around about Gargano's contract.
Well, Johnny Gargano's contract technically has already expired. He signed a 1-week extension because he wanted to work War Games. Now,
let's run you through.
In this War Games match, just like with the women's one, there was a ladder match to determine who would get the advantage. Voted for by the WWE Universe, that match turned to Johnny Gargano and Braun Breaker. The match ultimately won by Braun Breaker, which means that Team 2.0 will get the advantage.
So, you reckon Team 2.0 will win because of that?
Not just because of that, but long-term plans for a new NXT, it makes more sense.
Yes. So let us run you through the match card for this Sunday's NXT War Games one more time.
In the women's War Games match, Miguel Gonzalez, Io Shirai, Corey Jade, and Kaylee Ray take on the team of Dakota Kai and Toxic Attraction. In Mandy Rose, Giri Dolan, and JC Jane.
Cameron Grimes will go one-on-one with Duke Hudson in a hair versus hair match.
Imperium will defend the NXT Tag Team Championships against Kyle O'Reilly and Von Wagner.
Roderick Strong will defend his NXT Cruiserweight Championship against Joe Gacy.
And the NXT Originals, or Team Black and Gold of NXT Champion Tommaso Ciampa, Johnny Gargano, Pete Dunne, and LA Knight will take on Team 2.0 in Braun Breaker, Carmelo Hayes, Grayson Waller, and Tony D'Angelo in the men's War Games match.
So that about does it for our War Games pre-show.
War Games comes at us this Sunday from the Performance Center / NXT Arena. We will be back at you next week with the results of War Games, but we will say goodbye. We won't say goodbye. William Regal will say goodbye with his not so subtle announcements. But until then, he's been
Sean Smith, and he's been
Phil Jones, and we shall see you next week for
War Games!
of War Games. War Games. War Games.